Hey everyone, we're back with another episode of the Find Your Film podcast. I'm here with Eric Holmes and I'm Greg Srzawasti. Unfortunately, Bruce Perky right now is in the middle of what is it, Eric Holmes, a tornado warning or tornado watch?
Tornado warning. Tornado watch is conditions are right for a tornado. Tornado warning is someone saw a tornado touchdown and it's in the area. So Bruce needs to be hunkered down, hopefully in a basement somewhere. And we'll get back with him. I'm sure he'll be fine.
Well, this is a very good warning for this podcast because joining us in Bruce Perky's stead is this very accomplished filmmaker, Juan Diego Escobar Alzate, the director, writer behind Lose the Flower of Evil. Thank you, Juan, for joining us here on the podcast.
No. Thank you. I love this space, of course, and being able to talk with you guys and genre freaks. I love this.
Well, you know what? Eric Holmes, by the way, listeners, if you listen to our Find Your Film podcast for, I would say maybe the last year and a couple of months, Lose the Flower of Evil is at the top, if not at the top of his list of movies you must see. It's available currently on Shudder, Blu-ray, DVD, everywhere you can stream. And well, personally, before we get to that, we love our physical media. Juan, do you have a huge physical media collection? Do you have enough space in your, yes?
Yes, I do. In fact, the media that I love the most being at, or the window, is, of course, first theatrical and then a physical media. I love DVDs and Blu-ray. So I prefer this, of course, than streaming. I love to have digital media, the booklets, the press kits. I love this. I love to be involved and to get to know more about each film. So yeah, I'm a very big Spaghetti Western and Giallo collector. So yeah.
Oh, wow. Eric Holmes, I'm sorry, my ears, Spaghetti
Giallo.
Western and Giallo.
You said the magic word.
I'm suddenly awake. Eric Holmes, what's your favorite Giallo film right off the top?
Geez. I don't know. We'll just go deep red. It'll probably change. It'll probably 10 minutes from now.
Well, can I say something very quickly? One, I read in an interview that maybe, I think was it your father? You watched a lot of movies as a youth, watching Westerns with your father. Am I wrong on this?
Yeah, you're totally right. Totally right. That's basically how I get into film. My father used to put on Sundays, he just put on the TV, and there was Westerns, of course, like airing. So yeah, I started to watch those Westerns since I was a kid. And when the internet started to pop out, I started to search for these filmmakers that made those Westerns that I loved as a child. And it turns out to be a spaghetti Western. So I fell in love also with these filmmakers that make the spaghetti Westerns. And as a spaghetti Western died, many, as you may know, many of the directors turned to do Giallo films. So that's how I get into horror. So that's basically my background, Western and horror.
Now, before we get to more deep diving into Lose the Flower of Evil, Eric Holmes, what has Juan graciously thrown to you, to your domicile, and what can our podcast listeners glean from this episode? Tell us about it.
Well, we do have a couple of DVDs here, as well as a bunch of posters. And we got a very special German limited edition DVD. Actually, Juan, can you tell us a little bit about this one?
Wow.
Because I checked this out. This we got a 3-disc here, and this thing's a beauty.
Yeah. I mean, the film in physical media, it is in Italy, in the US, in the UK, and this edition in Germany, and the newest one is coming out this month from Fractured Visions. It's going to be, I personally think it's the best and more complete of them all. All the Blu-rays or physical media that the film has, and that particular one has the original soundtrack. I mean, by Brian Heater. It has a DVD and a Blu-ray and a very cool booklet, like with 30 different posters.
Oh yeah, I went through the booklet, and first of all, let's get into that. You're the merchandising, the artwork for your movie. Yeah. The movie's beautiful. The artwork. I got 2 of the posters hanging up right behind me, and I mean, look at this thing. Look at that thing.
That's amazing.
I know the answer, but I'm just going to ask: who does the artwork for your movie?
Yeah, I did it myself, also with the help with other designers. But yeah, basically, as a solo filmmaker, I mean, as an independent filmmaker, I had to start designing myself. And finding, of course, inspiration in posters that I liked a lot. Like, for example, the one you just showed there, like the pink one, it's very, very influenced by Alejandro Jodorowsky's Mexican poster of it's not El Topo. What's this one called?
I'll look it up.
I just forgot. It's an Alejandro Jodorowsky's film. That also Alejandro Jodorowsky is my favorite filmmaker. But yeah, that poster is influenced by one of Alejandro Jodorowsky's film, distributed in Mexico by Manticora Distribución.
I get that. I get the influence a lot watching Lose the Flower of Evil, because it's kind of a front to back narrative, but like Jodorowsky, you had a bunch of. I mean, the tape deck is the shining example of the thing that doesn't quite fit, doesn't quite make sense, but I don't think that tape deck's supposed to be like physically there. It's more represents something. For me, possibly the idea of looking towards the future, or maybe the tape deck plays music, so this is a possibility of creation, love, joy, stuff like that.
Cool interpretation.
But you have a lot of stuff like that. Kind of like Jodorowsky, and I mean, that guy just turns it up to 11. But his whole movies are pretty much just a bunch of metaphors. But when you're writing Lose, or when you're directing, where I don't want to ask you where you got your ideas, because that's such a stupid question. But like,
that was going to be my question, Eric.
Sorry. But where do you decide to put those little flourishes in? Like, when does it seem right to you, or how does the inspiration, like as you're writing, it's like, fuck it, tape deck, we're going to throw it in there. Like, where does that process start?
Okay, yeah. First of all, it's important to say that there's no studio system in this film. So there's no need to sell a film, or a producer that's telling me, oh no, we have to make a film that sells well or whatever. So I just did whatever film I thought that I would like to see by myself. And as I say, this is my ode to Alejandro Jodorowsky and to Baruch Spinoza. Baruch Spinoza is a philosopher that basically, I don't believe in God, but I do believe in Spinoza's idea of God. He said that God lives everywhere, through a smile, through a waterfall, through beauty, through wisdom, through everything. But within that God lives the devil. I believe in darkness and light, and I believe that we are all good and we're all evil at the same time. And basically, that's the point that I wanted to start with Luz. And basically, I'm a poet at heart. And I didn't want, like, for example, I don't like films that are very well studied. Do you know what I mean? Like, in the beginning we have to make this, and in minute 10 there's have to be something that happens so that we can get the viewer's attention, and in minute 30 there have to be a jump scare and the climax. I don't give a shit about that. I don't think that film and art can be formulaic. I don't believe in Hollywood system, though. I think that film is an experience and an artwork that can make you heal and can make you feel things that are not studied, that cannot be explained. I mean, when I watched the film, I saw The Witch, for example, and when I first watched it, I fell in love, but I knew that it will have two sides, people that love it or people who hate it. I personally don't give a shit if people hate this movie. If people hate Luz, I wanted to hate them so much. But if people love this film, I wanted to love it so much. As I say, this is a film that it's pure light and pure dark. There's no middle ground. And that's exactly what I wanted to portray with Luz.
You said the word interpretation when Eric was giving his interpretation. And is that one of the joys with making this movie as an artist, not just as a craftsman? You are a true artist, and you get so many different interpretations. You don't believe in God. I was raised Catholic. I believe in God. But when I look at other films in cinema, I put Lose the Flower of Evil as high up there as far as movies that really question and strengthens one's faith. How great has it been for you just to get those two sides of the coin regarding faith and nature, all these different interpretations, but telling you how much this film has reaffirmed their love or their divorce from faith? It must be such an empowering experience for you as an artist.
Yeah, definitely. Basically, the thing that I like, that I think is the most important of them all, or that I wanted to question, is the idea of faith, especially. We here in South America, especially in Colombia and my family, I was raised Catholic too. But since a very early age, I was sort of an outcast. I didn't believe in God. I didn't believe in my hometown is called Manizales, and for example, my fellows there, or how to say, my friends at school, when we graduated, they didn't have dreams of their own. There were dreams from their fathers. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, I want to be an engineer because my father is an engineer, and I want to continue with that. So they didn't have dreams of their own. In my particular way, I always was the outcast. I wanted to be a filmmaker that I didn't believe in God. I was totally an outcast. And this film, I wanted to portray, or this film also serves as a metaphor for my hometown. We always believe in this patriarchy because here Latin America, as you may know, is very known for machismo. I don't know this special word in Spanish, but it's basically manhood, that men rule over everything. And I don't think that. I think that nature and beauty and pureness of, for example, femininity, that for me, those are the most beautiful things. Femininity and nature rules over us, and we as men, we tend to think that we are high there, and that we can rule over everything. But I think that men, through religion and through manhood, corrupts everything they touch. Woman, femininity, and of course nature as well. So all my inspiration since I was a child, it was due to religion, definitely. And I wanted to make my first film, and definitely, and also my next feature, it's also kind of has to do with religious themes. I love religious themes, and I really don't believe in religion. I think that there's a very important part in the film that they say when the girls let go of Jesus, it's when you have it inside. Do you know what I mean? You don't have to go pray to God, but if you have it inside, it's all that matters. That's basically what I think, that people, in whatever you believe in, if you have it inside, you don't have to go to church and pay and whatever. For me, like, for example, preachers and priests, they're full of shit. If you think about religion, I think that it's important that you believe in your own religion, but yourself, not paying money to the church or whatever. For me, there are a bunch of hypocrisy in the church. But I think religion is something beautiful. I think religion is, as an idea, is something beautiful. But when it comes to the church, I hate that. So I think that that when you not to trust very much really priests or preachers. They are just full of lies and words and this kind of thing. So that's basically why this film doesn't have many silences. And the preacher is always preaching. People say like, oh, there's too much text over. But for me, that's preaching exactly. If it wasn't for words or through speaking, preaching won't be preaching. So that was basically mine.
I'm an atheist. I don't really get too much shit for that. What's the culture like where you're from? Because I suspect that there's a really high amount of Catholics around where you're from.
Yeah.
Do you get a lot of side eyes, or like is something like that? For instance, is someone in Afghanistan did something, disparaging the Quran, for example, they would be seen as apostate. They'd probably get killed, at the very least, disowned by their family. Is it that kind of? Is it that strong where you live or in your culture?
No, I mean, we're like people in my hometown and in Colombia, and I would say in most of Latin America, it's very Catholic. However, people believe in I mean, we can have whatever idea we have, and it's not that like as you said, like radical. It's not like that. Okay. We can think whatever, but of course, people roll me the eyes. Do you know what I mean? Like, for example, here in Colombia, the film didn't play well.
Wow, that's a surprise.
People tend to like the film abroad, and for me, I just make this film for me and a film that I wanted to make. I didn't had a clue that people were going to buy it on the other part of the world, or that it will get distribution. I just made a film for me, and maybe that my mother can watch it and say, "Okay, you made a film," and whatever. But
what does your mom think of the film? Has she seen it yet, or?
Yeah, I mean, she doesn't care about the topics, but she does care, of course, about the process that I have had as a filmmaker. And of course, the credibility for her is very important that the film got and that I just got. So she just don't care about the topics. She just let me be whatever I am. And move forward. I mean, with professionalism and this, and basically that's very important for me.
Juan, how cool was it for you to collaborate with Yuri Vargas? Because we talk about artists and people and she's very popular, and most people, man or woman, they can just. Actually, I think Bruce is actually coming in here. Hold on, let me admit Bruce in here. Let's see if that'll work with Bruce with the iPhone. But people can play it safe artistically, but she decided to. She believed in your vision, and you were talking about rolling the dice. She rolled the dice because she believed in you, and most importantly, she believed in your story. How much does that mean for you as a collaborator when you see an artist who's successful but is willing to just put it all out there and just go to Mother Nature with you for 23 days without Wi-Fi and do all that stuff with a great cast as well?
No, that was insanely cool, of course, because as you said, Yuri Vargas is very well known here in Colombia. She's one of the top. Like Colombia is very well known for soap operas. And here Yuri Vargas is one of the top. So basically she always had all his year, the agenda very much like her schedule is very tight. You know what I mean? So when I sent this script to her, of course I didn't have the money. I mean, we didn't have the money to pay to her, but she fell in love with the character and she wanted to portray for the first time a lead role on a film. She is one of the most popular actresses in soap operas, but she never has starred on a film before. And in terms of horror, there's no big horror films in Colombia neither. So she wanted to. She just took the leap of faith because she liked one of my previous short films called The Colors of Hope and Wonder, and she just hop on board. She wanted to be part of this, and we became very good friends, and she's also part of my next film. So yeah, we became very good friends with her and with her husband. That's Jim Munoz, that plays Adam in the film.
It's amazing. By the way, the actor who plays El Señor is fantastic. I think perfect casting as well. So
he's insanely cool. I mean, Conrado, for me, it's one of the top actors here in the country in terms of genre films that we don't have a lot. But I think his looks, his facial expression, his tone, his muscles, I mean, the bigness of this guy, I think he have all the potential to become a cult actor here. So hoping that goes well.
Eric, you were gonna.
Oh, I was gonna say, is Bruce here?
He was here and then he left. I don't know.
Okay.
He's a phantom. He might pop in and out.
I wanted to introduce and maybe have him join in. Oh shoot! I just lost the thread. Well, I guess I will ask about there's one scene in particular. Early on, you have the women. They're in the lake, a little waterfall area. The guys are talking about them. The one guy's kind of Adam's leering at them, and the other guy behind's like saying that their angels are perfect. But they're washing themselves, and so I just thought that was kind of a weird the idea that if you're perfect, you shouldn't have to clean yourself. So or maybe I'm just looking too deep into that. And on that part, their back is always facing the camera. even at the end of that scene, they're all walking away on horses. Is there any special meaning behind that, or am I just looking too deep into nothing?
Yeah, I would say that you're digging too deep. I mean,
Okay,
I just wanted like to portray. I mean, I'm also a huge enthusiast of paintings, and I wanted to make this film also that the most idyllic looking thing, like like the Eden. I don't know the word. Yeah, like something like very precious, Eden, like heavenly. And yeah, I love, for example, paintings, and as I say, and there's a lot of paintings that influenced me through these films, like John Williams' Waterhouse, Hylas and the Nymphs, Camille Corot, Rembrandt itself, and Callisto, Diana bathing with the nymphs. So this basically is like also a tribute to painting. This film, if you take a still of whatever shot it is, it's basically a painting, an oil painting if you paint it. So I also wanted to portray a very beautiful looking film. I wanted to make a very beautiful looking film because normally I come from directing video clips. So for me, aesthetics is very important. And often when you see a film, they tend to be a story driven or character driven, but not image driven. And I wanted to have an image driven film.
You know, Juan, maybe I'm also reading a little bit into the narrative, but it just seems to me as a viewer that this story was created out of pain, but also a sense of liberation, not just creative, but personal liberation. Can you just talk about those two things crashing together? That must be such an interesting dynamic in creating this immersive world, because this seems like so personal that you can really touch it and taste it, you know?
Yeah, for me, film is not merely a process of entertainment. I mean, for me, film is way more. I think that film as an art form has the responsibility to make people heal. I think that the biggest artwork of them all is healing. And I wanted to people, after watching this film, to question themselves, to liberate themselves, to interpret whatever they think that the film is about. I don't want to entertain with this film. I want to question and to open questions that I don't answer. The film doesn't answer anything. It's open to interpretation. I didn't want to make a film just like full of jump scares or whatever. I wanted to make a more profound film so that people can watch it and heal themselves and think, oh man, these words are beautiful, this image is beautiful, these things is beautiful. How can this be sort of like a very obscure film? Why is that? It's because basically I believe that there's light and darkness within us all. And that's basically it.
Eric, can we ask a couple of Giallo questions? I have some guilty pleasure Giallo questions.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Because I'm just biting my tongue. I'm like, okay, there's this one part where he was looking this way, and then on the next, and
he's such a scholar of your work. By the way, he's going to probably one day write a book about all the inner messages of this movie that you don't even know that he'll just uncover it.
A book, not a book. There will be volumes of books trying to get to the bottom. Lose the flower of evil. What does it all mean, man?
Well, we were just wondering some of your favorite Giallo films, or maybe even Westerns, because recently, I think maybe 6 months ago, Eric and I, we caught the Sergio Corbucci film. I think it was called The Great Silence or something. And I remember, oh, you love that? Is that one of the Westerns you love? I just love, without giving too much away, the ending, like your ending just threw me for a loop. Growing up, what were some of the movies that just, I'm sure these uncompromising visions probably informed you as an artist as you matured into who you are today?
Yeah, of course. I mean, if you watch, for example, Conrado Osorio, that's El Señor here, he has piercing blue eyes, very good looking. He's just like Keoma. Keoma is one of my favorite films from Enzo Castellari, that's starring Franco Nero.
Oh, I've got to look that up.
Yeah, definitely. Keoma is one of my favorites. Day of Anger by Tonino Valeri is one of my favorite. Cemetery Without Crosses, very poetic film by Robert Hossein. Return of Ringo. What else can I remember? Of course, A Fistful of Dollars, Django by Corbucci, The Big Gun Down is also very good by Solima. Then The Great Silence, of course, by Corbucci is also one of my favorites.
Oh, great. Welcome, Bruce Berkey. Welcome to, we're here with Juan. We're talking about his film.
Nice to meet you from the blackout of a tornado.
Shit, man. I'm glad you're alive, man. I'm glad you're doing good.
Are you okay, Bruce?
Dedication. Yeah, we have no electricity, but I'm kind of here. I'm using my phone as long as it lasts, and I've got a flashlight. So hey,
that's amazing.
Cool. That's cool.
We were asking Juan about some of his favorite giallos, and he was giving us some answers. And you definitely need to see the Great Silence. Yeah, so
those ones were my favorite spaghetti westerns.
Spaghetti, yeah, my bad.
Favorite giallos, my favorite giallos. Well, I of course Suspiria is my all-time favorite. Also with Phenomena, I love Phenomena by Argento. Also, this film has some influence by Phenomena. I mean, because Jennifer Connelly in Phenomena can talk with nature. And for me, that's something so beautiful. This is basically, I had this script of Luz, The Flower of Evil, before, and I was going to shoot it, right? But I went to the Amazon, to Popayan, that's a city here that there's taitas and lots of ayahuasca. I don't know if you're familiar with ayahuasca. Are you?
Not personally, but I've heard of it.
Okay.
I'm aware of it.
Basically a beverage that's called the Vine of the Soul. And basically it's a drug that has DMT and it makes you, it's like an hallucinogenic. And after I tried this, I connected myself with nature very much. And I was like, shit, the script that I have is terrible. How can I write something about nature if I don't understand nature? And since that moment, we threw away that script and started all over. And it took all other 2 years to write the script and to finalize everything and whatever. So basically, also this all happens because ayahuasca, and it's something similar something similar to what Jennifer Connelly, to what happened to Jennifer Connelly in Phenomena happened to me. I mean, I cannot talk, of course, to plants or to butterflies or whatever, but I have a very big connection now with nature. And basically, in Searching for the Black Rainbow, that's going to be my other feature. It's a tribute also to nature. It's an eco horror, so I'm very much also in that sort of vein. But also films that I like now. Speaking of giallos, A Lizard in a Woman's Skin, I love. The House with the Laughing Windows, I love. The Strange Bites of Mrs. Worth, I love as well. So yeah, those I would say is and Tenebre, an opera by Argento, I also love. I think Argento, for me, as well as Alejandro Jodorowsky and Terrence Malick, are my favorite filmmakers of all time.
Bruce, how was Juan's selections on his giallo? Were they pretty good? He's our giallo king, Bruce is.
Yeah, those are really good ones. I didn't hear any Bava in there, but that's okay. We'll let it pass.
You were talking about the Black Rainbow. Is that the pictures you've been taking and posting on the social medias?
No, on social media. I mean, I'm just scouting you. Is by that what you mean?
Yeah. You've been. It looks like you've been taking a bunch of pictures, like waterfalls or forests. They're really pretty pictures.
No, not at all. I mean, I'm scouting, but on a different project that I'm just the scouting manager of the Film Fund here in Colombia, because they're going to have a platform so that people that foreigners, foreign production, can come here to Colombia. So they are going to have these pictures in platform. So I'm basically just taking pictures all over this month and traveling around. But no, the film, my film, Searching for the Black Rainbow, is so far a Colombian and an Argentinian co-production, and we will shoot it in Argentina and I'm doing all of this in Colombia. I mean, the scouting. So it's separate things.
Juan, I'm going to put you on the spot. Any kind of cinephile, let's just say the cinephile works in Hollywood and they see Lose the Flower of Evil and they say, man, this guy, he really knows his visual composition, story structure is on point. Let's call him up and let's bring him to Hollywood. Let's offer him a movie. Would you ever take that kind of meeting, knowing the kind of compromises every artist must face in dealing with the Hollywood system? First of all, that's probably a huge compliment, but you have all the skills to do that. And I'm just wondering, would you take that call? Would you take that meeting? Would you work here?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, of course, for me, Lose the Flower of Evil was, I made it so it can help me open doors so that I can shoot my second feature and so on with different budgets and to get credibility and also to demonstrate that I can do a film like that, looking that good and with all these nice parameters with very little money. So yeah, I definitely will. I mean, I studied in the United States in San Francisco, and I'm more than open to go again to the United States. I mean, for me, it will be a dream come true to go and shoot in the United States. So yeah, I mean, for sure.
Eric, you have a couple of the winners for this week. What are we offering as far as giveaways? You want to throw that out there?
Yeah. Well, real quick, does Bruce have anything? Because I think it just butted in one point earlier.
Well, I mean, I didn't hear a lot of the questions. If I'm doubling up on it, I'll just say I really appreciate a lot of the things they probably talked about, the cinematography and everything. I also really appreciate the way you kind of do the montage at the beginning and you kind of lay the geography and the symbology that's going to go through the whole movie. And I just want to say, when I did it a second viewing of it, it even caught me more. And I don't know if you guys already talked about that, but it kind of creates this sort of mythological, framework for the whole movie, so that when you see each of these locations, they have you're like, okay, we're in the forest. Oh, we're on the hillside with the crosses, all those things. I really appreciated that. I don't know if you guys talked about that at all.
No, we didn't.
He just shakes his head. Nothing to say. I stumped him. One other question for you. Okay, I bet you this didn't get asked. I heard you were in San Francisco, and I heard you talk about punk rock. And I know that myself and Eric both have some background to that. Do you have any dreams of some sort of punk rock ethos in a movie or a project to come? And if so, how would that manifest?
Well, yeah, definitely. Since I was a kid, I was also, as I say, an outcast, and I was a punk rocker. And when I grew up and studied in San Francisco, I reconnected with punk a lot, with punk music, with the punk vibes and whatever. So yeah, I mean, punk is a very important part of my life. I wouldn't think right now that my ideal thing or theme would be in film would be punk rock, because I'm more into sort of nature and eco horror, as I said, or more spiritual things and matters and occultism and all of these things. But yeah, I don't know what will happen after searching for the Black Rainbow. So who knows? But yeah, definitely I'm a freaking lover of punk rock, and I love the Descendants, for example, is one of my favorite bands. So who knows what will happen?
I would like to see Juan Diego's Green Room. That would be something.
Green Room, such a nice film, but yeah, who knows what will happen? But yeah, such a nice film. One of my favorites in that topic. I think he made a wonderful film with that topic.
Eric, you want to do the giveaway? We're giving away two of your things, two of your items this week.
So we'll give away two. Let's see, you got 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, we'll give away. Give me two random numbers between 1 and 14, and we'll give away these. And then next week we'll give away the German Blu-ray along with the rest of the posters.
Tell our audio listeners what are they getting? The two winners. What are the two winners?
Sorry. We got two Lose the Flower of Evil DVDs. We got the pink cover, and we got the this looks like a kind of like a painting almost, or like a what do we call that? Like a print. When you look at it real close, it looks really cool when you look at it up close. It looks like maybe a mat like pasted on there or something. It's really cool looking. But yeah, two Lose the Flower of Evil DVDs.
Okay, the winners are going to be numbers 2 and number 11. number 2, and number 11. And again, next week, we will be giving more items away from Lose the Flower of Evil. Thanks again to Juan Diego Escobar Alzate. That's very cool.
That's very cool. The important to say, these ones that you're giving away are the Colombian version, the Colombian distributed version. So that's pretty cool because in the US, there's no this version. I mean, you're the only ones that got it.
Yes. When I said this last week, I tried to actually bribe Eric just to give me all the stuff, and I'll just fake all the entries. But he is a man of principle, and I'm a man of corruption. So
the names I got here is Tracy Peters and Brad Carver.
Okay, Tracy Peters and Brad Carver. Eric will be getting back to you very soon to send you these discs from Colombia. These are good. These are special, and keep them on your wall. Do not put them on eBay and try to flip a profit. This is a filmmaker and artist, and he's giving it to us. So put it on your wall. Let it adorn your respective domicile.
Oh, I got one last question, and this will probably kind of go into searching for the Black Rainbow. We mentioned Lose a Flower of Evil streaming. What are some ways that people can help you make Searching for the Black Rainbow, as far as watch, where's a good place to rent Lose the Flower of Evil, or buy it, or watch it streaming? What are some things that people can do to kind of help get the word out and help you get that next project done? Because selfishly, for myself, I want to see you make thousands of movies so I can watch all of them. So I figure the more movies you can make, the better.
That's very cool to know. Well, in streaming platforms, of course, the film is in the US and basically in all territories. So if the listeners are in the UK or Australia or any other territories, you can check, for example, Amazon Prime. It's mostly there. In Shudder, it's in all territories that Shudder is, except for Canada. I mean, Australia, New Zealand, the United Kingdom, and the US. This on September, it's important to say that it's a Hispanic Heritage Month, and Shudder will portray this film as well as other 10 Latin American films that are on there. So they will promote it. So important to watch it on Shudder, but mostly buy the DVDs, the Blu-rays, and the physical media things that, of course, don't let physical media die. Important thing also that people can help me doing my next feature. I would say that it will be through commenting, leaving reviews on Letterboxd or IMDb or Rotten Tomatoes, things like this, so that they get something like approval from people and tell so that the industry, the producers know, oh, this guy made a good film, people are liking it, let's going to hunt this guy and bring it here or give him money or whatever. I don't know, but yeah, basically, if you like Lose the Flower of Evil or want to help me make Searching for the Black Rainbow, just leave some comments on those platforms or watch the film. But yeah, as I say, mostly get the physical media, the Blu-rays, the DVDs, all of this. So if distributors know that things get sold out, it means that the film was good enough.
Well, my final question to you is, people, I'm sure, ask you a lot of filmmaking advice, asking you about specifically what camera did you use? How did you compose this long take or this shot or your editing sequences? All these things, working with the actors, all of these are very technical. But I'm assuming a lot of the advice you give to filmmakers of any age is to, like what you do on a daily basis, is to actually live your life where it's being engaged in humanity and civilization. And do you feel that's the first step in becoming a filmmaker, as far as having interests, having passions, and letting that flow through all of those tools? The tools should be a secondary part to who you are inside your soul.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for me, filmmaking is not about having or shooting with the best camera or the best gear or whatever, or telling the best story. For me, filmmaking is something that comes from the heart. I studied filmmaking, and I don't believe that many things that teachers told me, that professors told me, are true. But I learned it so that I can blurt out that line and tell, no, I know this, and now I can pass that line. Do you know what I mean? Because basically what teachers or the industry tell is that they formed you to be part of the industry. But what happens if you want to make your voice be heard in a different way? Do you know what I mean? So we are all different. We don't have to follow the same path. That's basically what I would say.
We usually end our podcast with a final question from the smartest one of us three. It's not a big bar. It's not a big bar to clear since Eric and I are not very smart. So Bruce Perky, you have the final question.
Well, well, I would be remiss if I didn't ask him about the box, because we every week pick a movie from the box. I literally put a slip of paper in a box and we pick a movie out that each week we'll review, preferably a movie that's underseen or you're really passionate about. We've had filmmakers do it. We have just fans do it. For example, this week we're doing Wild Tales.
Okay.
Do you have a movie? I mean, you mentioned quite a few different movies, but do you have a movie specifically that you'd like us to add to the box?
Yeah, I would add 2. I don't know if you have it on the box, but Hagasusa. I love freaking Hagasusa.
Yes.
I
will add it.
Hagasusa.
It's really good, and we've never talked about it, but it's a really good one. Yes, I can see how you could recommend that. What else?
Very, very good one. And the other one that I would say is Valerie and her Dreams of One and her Week of Wonders.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
I've never heard of that movie. My goodness.
Such a gorgeous film, man. Such a gorgeous.
Okay.
And her Week of Wonders. Have you seen, and I'm just coming out of the blue here, have you seen November?
No, of course, I love November. We talked about November. It's important also to say that the UK Blu-ray, it's coming out this month. It's the best one. It has an audio commentary also by Kurt Halfier. That's a critic of Screen Anarchy. And we talked a lot about folk horror and films that we love. And we talked a lot about November and Hagasusa as well.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you. I wish I could have talked to you more. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. Thank you.
So that is it. Juan Diego Escobar Alzate, the director, writer behind Lose the Flower of Evil. I was going to end with Bruce, but Eric, you set this up. You're basically almost friends or colleagues with this guy. What do you want to say something else before we leave? And I'll shut up and I'll leave it to you guys.
Okay, at minute 55 and 36 seconds of the film. No, just kidding. No, I thank you for coming on, and I really appreciate your movie. I really appreciate you. You're such a fun and nice guy to talk to, and wish you luck and hope to see more movies. And if you have anything else to show, or you just want to come on and talk movies, doors always open, and we'd love to have you back many times.
No, that's great. That's great. I love talking about movies. So yeah, sure. Count me in, and I will talk with you guys way longer about other films, about other things that I am passionate about. So no, thank you very much. I know that you like very much the film, and thank you also. It's important, of course, as for an indie filmmaker, to get this kind of approval from people that are part of the genre community. And also it's very important for these small indie and also Spanish films. Like in Spanish, of course, it's very difficult for Americans to watch them. You know what I mean? They don't tend to watch movies with subtitles. So I really appreciate this a lot. And yeah, thank you for having me here. And I wish you all the best success. Thank you for inviting me and for trusting my vision.
All right. Take care.
Thank you.